Hey guys, this video is going to be aimed primarily at my Age of Empires 2 group, and this video is going to be about how to execute a Nomad start with the intention of going feudal navy. This recording is just a game against the AI that I've just completed where I've just bashed out how I normally start on Nomad. I've selected Saracens as the civilization because Saracens get no Dark Age eco bonus, so this execution can be done with literally any civilization in the game. It doesn't matter what civilization it is. There are several civilizations that you get Dark Age bonuses for Nomad starts with, and with the resources that I'm able to find in this game, you can get up even earlier than this. But generally, if you're going feudal navy, you want to try and get up around 20 to 21 pop is probably a good thing to aim for, sort of a good number of villages. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play this recording and I'm going to sort of try and explain the order that I do things and sort of the things to prioritize and try and give some tips. So this is just a 1v1. I was thinking about doing a game against the AI with like a proper 4 versus 4 on Nomad, but I thought just for simplicity this would be fine. So as you can see, my villagers are currently in an L shape. So I've got a villager up here right next to the shore, which is going to be the dock villager, and then I've got 2 villagers down here. Each villager can already see a resource, so this villager can see wood, this villager can see gold. I usually cycle through my villages, move the one closest to the shore towards the shore, and then select the 2 that are closer together and move them towards each other, and then I'll find a location with those 2 villages. It's generally best to get your TC started, if you can, before 30 seconds ticks over in the game. If you're between 30 seconds and a minute, you're going to probably be about a villager behind the players that sort of got their TC started a bit earlier. So I'm just going to play the replay from now. So here we go. I'm just going to go to my view lock as well. So I'm watching these villages and I'm just looking at the resources that I can find. And because that wood line is close to a gold, I've chosen to TC there instead of closer to the wood line that the villager on the right has started next to. I found the shorefish with the dock villager and I've started building a dock. I've queued the dock villager to the shorefish and then I'm sending my 2 villagers towards the town center. I'm just using this villager to see if I can luckily find a sheep, because ideally you want to have 1 or 2 sheep on your Nomad start as well. And there's a duck next to my dock, so I'm going to go and grab that one just so that I've got one, because it's handy to have at least 1 or 2 sheep to be able to scout around your TC to find boars and sheep and other resources. So I'm just going to quickly pause. So there's 2 ways that you generally do a Nomad start. One of those ways is use the dock villager to build a house then dock, or dock then house, and then start collecting the shorefish. The second way is you use a TC villager to start building a house after building the TC. You don't have to use the dock villager to build a house before the TC is up, because the TC provides 5 population space, and then you've got room to make 2 villagers before you need a house to be completed. So once the TC is up, you can use a TC villager to start building a house close to the TC, and you won't have any idle TC time. And it's not going to impact your ability to make a fishing ship unless you are Persians, because they can build a fishing ship immediately once their TC is up. So ideally in that situation, you'd want to have the house completed, possibly by the dock villager, before your TC and dock are finished, or with one of the villagers walking to the TC. The other examples where you might want to have a house up earlier is if you've got some kind of stacked bonus with Dravidian or Viking allies, when you're Malians or something like that, that allows you to sort of get that first fishing ship out very close to immediately as well. So with these 2 starting builds, the difference between building a house near the dock and the house near the TC, I did a test against the AI and I found that after 7 minutes, there isn't really any difference between doing the 2 builds. The main difference between the 2 is if you use a villager to build a house before the dock is up, the villager on the dock starts collecting shorefish later, and that means you'll have slightly less food at the start of the game, and it may, depending on how soon your town center is built, it may give you TC idle time. But when you do the dock villager building the house, I also, when I did the test, it made it sort of it felt a bit smoother, and I felt like I was under less pressure to collect food under the TC. So I'd say that comes down to personal preference. I'm just going to press play again, and I'm just going to quickly fast forward a little bit. Okay, so in this particular build, I'm using a TC villager. And now I'm going to slow down again. So now I've queued up 4 villagers in my town center, and you can see that I've already got 30 extra food from the dock villager bringing in shorefish. So that means that I'm going to be able to make a 5th villager before I start needing to think about collecting extra food under my town center. Now, the first absolute priority is to get 4 villagers on wood and to get a fishing ship out as soon as possible. You want your first fishing ship to come out as fast as it can to start bringing in some extra food. I know that some players in the group build 2 houses before they start going to wood, or they start doing other things on Nomad. I think that slows your Nomad start down a bit. I recommend only building 1 house. And of course, if you've got a Dravidian's ally, you don't need to build the starting house. So here, I'm going to not use my goose under the TC because I've got a close bore, and because I'm playing feudal navy, I don't need to have the optimal amount of villagers on the board. I just need to keep my TC running. So I'm going to use 4 villagers on the board, and that's enough with force dropping to keep the TC going. I just need to do a force drop here. There we go. I've got the TC running. And then I'm going to send my next villagers to wood. Immediately after I got my first fishing ship out, I built a house. Now this is something that I picked up from watching Hera's Nomad video. And in that video, he recommends that after your first fishing ship, you build a house and then you keep that order. So when you're spending your wood, you need 6 villagers on wood to be able to afford houses and fishing ships. And then you go fishing ship, house, fishing ship, house, fishing ship, house in that order. And that keeps the Nomad start extremely smooth. 6 villagers on wood at a minimum, and then fishing ship, house, fishing ship, house, fishing ship, house. And then you have to have villagers working under the town center. You need at least 6 if it is a sheep. Otherwise, you can have slightly less if it's hunt. So I've got a boar here. I started with 4. I've ended up with 5. That's enough to keep the TC running for now. And then I'm going to have some dock idle time because I don't have enough villagers on wood. But I'm keeping my town center running with no idle time. Now I don't have to queue up loom in this instance because I've got plenty of food near my TC. So now I've got 3 villagers on wood, 5 on hunt, 1 on shorefish, and 1 fishing ship. And my next priority is to get out fishing ship number 2. So we need 75 wood. If you're Italians, you'd only need 64 wood. And you can force drop the wood from the villagers to get it in just that little bit quicker. So here we go. I've got my next fishing ship coming out. Now my next priority is going to be house number 3. My boar food is about just less than halfway down. And luckily I found a second boar. So I'm going to be pretty much right for food for all of Dark Age. I also have 2 hunt patches near me as well. And I found a 3rd hunt patch in berries. If that boar wasn't there, I'd have to go to one of the hunt patches, this one or this one. And that would delay my uptime a little bit. So now I've got 3 houses, 2 fishing ships, and I've got 5 villagers on wood, 1 bringing in the second boar. The first boar is just about to run out, and now I've got 6 on wood. So now I've got the optimal amount of villagers on wood, bringing in the second boar, and I'm using my duck to scout. Still not using it under the TC just yet. And here I found another duck, sending out a villager to grab that. I'm going to use that villager to build the next house. Queuing up fishing ship number 3. 3rd fishing ship has come out. I can see another deep fish as well in my line of sight. Just using the ducks to scout. I've got 6 on food under the TC at this point. I've got enough wood for another fishing ship, and I'm queuing up fishing ship number 4. 6 on wood still. Now I'm starting to send more villagers to food because I'm getting sort of closer towards that 20-21 pop number, and I want to start making sure that I get more villagers on food so I can hit a nice uptime. And then we go, after the 4th fishing ship is queued, I need to build house number 5. So that house is being built by a wood villager. You could use a food villager as well, just to get that bit of extra wood efficiency. So 4 fishing ships, 5th fishing ship coming out, the next 75 wood. Now I'm finishing up on the second boar, and I'm going to start moving on to hunt. My food is just hitting around 300. So my next priority is the second building as the prerequisite to go up to feudal age. If you were Khmer, you wouldn't need to worry about this. And also my villager on shorefish has run out. Now what I do with this villager is I send them along the shore to find another shorefish location, and I'm going to build a second dock. If you're going to play feudal water, I recommend a minimum of 2 docks, but most likely you want to have 3, particularly if water is being contested by another player. It's better to have more than 2 docks because you should be able to outproduce them. I'm rushing up the lumber camp as fast as I can. It just comes in, and then I'm able to get feudal age at 20 villages. So that's a really nice uptime for a civ with no dark age eco bonus, helped by the fact that I have 2 boars near my TC. I was able to find a sheep, and I was able to get a close hunt near my town centre. So that's pretty much a perfect nomad start for playing feudal water. So now my next wood I am spending on another house, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 houses, giving me a total of 30 pop. I'm going to need to build another house soon, and I'm just exhausting the first hunt patch, and then I'm going to use these villages to go to another hunt patch. Second dock is up. I haven't built any more fishing ships. I think 5 is probably a good number for the minimum amount of fishing ships that you want to make if you get a clean nomad start. If you have a later uptime than 20 pop, you can afford to add in maybe 1 or 2 more. I think maybe 5 to 7 in the games that I've played is a good number. And you wouldn't really add in extra fish until you have made your dock area safe to fish. So if you're winning water, you've pushed back, you've got cleared up pretty much one side of the map, then you can afford to start adding extra fishing ships for eco. So house number 6 coming in now. Feudal age is coming in, and immediately I'm queuing up 2 galleys. I've sent some villagers to gold. My gold is quite close to my TC, so I haven't built a mining camp just yet. And now I'm getting a blacksmith up immediately so I can get out fletching. Now, if you are close to an enemy player, I recommend that you go fire ships. If you're not close to an enemy player, go galleys, because with galleys will beat fire ships when they're massed. And if you're not close to an enemy, you can afford to mass a few galleys before you start taking an engagement. Whereas if you've got enemy docks like literally next to you, you need to go fire ships. So I've got 3 villages on gold. It was just sort of enough to get the first few galleys out. Now I'm finding that my gold's not coming in fast enough. I'm going to have to start adding some extra villages to gold, and I'm going to build a mining camp on the other side of that gold pile. I've still only got the 1 lumber camp. I've got villagers out here long distancing that hunt, and I can see there's berries over here if I need to make a mill and a market, and I've got an extra deer patch over here. I'm starting to queue up my galleys and I'm massing them here. I don't recommend going forward with less than 3 galleys. I think 3 galleys is a good number to start with, because 3 galleys can 2-shot fishing ships, whereas two galleys needs 3 shots. So I'm getting up an extra house, and here I'm just going to prioritize making maybe 4 or 5 galleys before I move forward, because in this particular one, I don't have an immediate sort of threat. So what I would be doing if this was a team game is I'd be sending these galleys out in order towards an enemy or towards a spot on the map that I know that I need to hold. Particularly if it was like a 2 versus 2 or 3 versus 3 game, I'd have more of an idea of a position to defend. 4 versus 4, you're pretty much going to know what you need to do straight away. And as the feudal water player, I'm not going to be prioritizing a fast castle unless I've just got a really lucky start with lots, like 3 boars or something like that. I might save the money to get up, but here I'm going to stay in feudal age a little bit longer. I'm just making a mill over here, and then I'm going to build a market and go up to castle age. And then I'm sending my galleys around, and then I'm queuing up extra galleys. And if water's being contested, just keep making ships and don't try and take bad engagements. If you got a good mass of galleys, you should be pretty much right to take almost anything. In this example, I'm starting to add some farms. I probably wouldn't need to do this in a lot of the games. Like here, I'd be prioritizing the market. So here I'm rushing up the market now. The AI is tower rushing me, which is really funny. And here, I don't have enough food. Like I've got more gold than I need to get up to castle, but I don't have enough food, so I end up buying 100 food so I can click up to castle. And then I've exhausted this hunt, so I'm going to move those villages around. Got these villages over here. I can take this extra boar, so I'll probably do that once I'm on the way up to castle age. I probably should have, should have done in this build is add a third dock there, so that I can move my fishing ships across this way. And there we go, I've flicked up to Castle Age. So I think I'm just going to stop the video here. So hopefully this guide is helpful for you guys to, if you're looking to play feudal water and you want to get like a nice fast uptime. And you know, hopefully there's some structure to this video that's evident that will help you execute faster feudal age time in Nomad.